Hello EdifyPath viewers. It is my absolute pleasure to have Dr.D.Vijay Kumar with us today, co-founder and founder director of Indus Universal Schools. He's an engineer from Osmania University and has done his management studies from IIM Bengaluru. He's also done his Ph.D. in management studies. He comes with an experience of over 25 years in the industry. Thank you so much for coming on board with us today and enlightening our young students and young minds.
Thanks a lot.
Sure, sir. So if I can begin, sir, I have a few questions that I would like our young audience would like to ask you, and you can enlighten them. You can tell them out of your experience how you have, with your experience of 25 years, and you can help them out. So my first question to you, sir, is: present mindset of students is different from the old batches post-pandemic. What is your advice to the present students?
See, basically, pre-pandemic and post-pandemic, if you look at it, pre-pandemic, the children were more in terms of, coming to the school, and there was a lot of holistic development as such happening. Post-pandemic, I think they're confined to online teaching, confined to the home. So the holistic development is taken a huge beating, point one. Point two is all about the methodology of learning itself is pretty new. The children were not exposed to it. Unfortunately, neither the teaching fraternity was geared up or equipped to deliver online sessions. So I think the child is going through a lot of emotions, whether it is schooling or, undergrad like engineering and degree college students. There's tremendous amount of pressure on them. And mostly, especially the higher education, it's more of engineering. If you specifically look at it, it's more of hands-on. Almost every subject has got practicals. So all these are missing. So it is more of, not even getting that basic minimum academic knowledge. So there is a huge gap that's going to come up when they actually come into the real world. Already one academic year is lost, and I'm sure we're going to lose another semester more. Might go for a toss. So I think I can only empathize with the children and advise them, make the best out of it, what is available, in terms of empowering yourself, in terms of skills, so that you are better off when you are applying for a job kind of a thing, and use all the online resources, get certifications online, and keep building your skills and move forward. At least till the time the academia is ready or the faculty is ready or empowered, because they're also learning. They also will go through the learning curve. They're going to go up. And institutions are also looking at new methods of imparting learning. So I think it's only a matter of time, but right now they should upskill them.
Absolutely, sir. Definitely, I largely believe that today students have the advantage of the time, the gift of time. Today they are all working, sitting at their houses and taking that education up. And like you said, we would definitely encourage our young students to take your advice and upskill themselves and jump the ladder of success. Sure, sir. Thank you so much for answering this question for us, sir. My next question to you, sir, is: in the process, what is the process of engineering colleges, more to be specific, should follow to make the students industry ready?
See, I think a part of it I've answered in my previous answer. Now, what should the institutions do? Most important and critical is empower their faculty and teachers to ensure the learning happens effectively online. Okay. Because what we are seeing more of today is it's chalk and talk.
Absolutely.
Okay. The faculty is coming, delivering a lecture on the online and then going. So I think the institution should get into a role of training the faculty, empowering them in terms of delivering lectures online using different resources available. It's not just a PPT kind of a thing. You can have voice notes, you can have videos, animations, lot of stuff. There's so much of content lying online. We can actually make the sessions more interesting rather than in a classroom kind of environment. So I think the institution should empower their faculty to gear up and upgrade their delivery skills.
Yes.
Okay. Second is they themselves can start collaborating with companies and institutions or whoever it is to bring in courses to upskill not just the faculty but also the students. Okay. And get them ready. Like 15 years ago, if you look at it, there was a gap in terms of the children when they were going for placements. Okay, the placements were going up, but the quality of children was at a certain level. That's when, if you look at it, around 2002, campus recruitment training took birth. Today, it's within the education sector vertical, it's an industry by itself.
Yes.
Okay. So I think the institutions also, I'm sure, would be thinking about it, because end of the road, placements is very important.
Absolutely.
And the institutions would love to quote unquote 100% placement, 100% placement.
Absolutely.
They need to. Okay. But today the best of the institutions are also not able to place 100%. National level institutes I'm talking about. Not talking about typical engineering college in Telangana.
Yes.
So I think managements also would be looking at, industry, training institutions, etc. for types to upskill their faculty as well as students.
Thank you so much for answering that question to us, sir. Definitely a huge piece of advice for both faculties, institutions, and for students to how to create that ladder to success, and how to get more opportunities for the young students who are going to become the brighter minds of the future.
Thank you.
My next question to you, sir, is only a few make it to the top companies in getting the jobs. How can we make students ready for opportunities in India?
Do you want me to be very honest?
Yeah, definitely, sir. Honesty would help the students eventually.
Okay. See, basically, if you look at it, there are millions of engineers that the country produces.
Right.
Okay. And are there equal number of jobs for them in the specific area?
Absolutely.
They're not there. Okay. So that means there is a certain percentage of students who are already and always will be left behind.
Absolutely.
And they need to look for alternate careers. Okay. So what happens here is, on the first half, the children who are very clear about what they want to do after engineering, okay, who know for sure that this is what is my path, they should upskill themselves. I think that's a normal thing, which we have already addressed in my previous answers. And they should move ahead. But most critical are those children who are definitely a majority, okay, who will not get a job.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now these guys, if you look at the industry, or when I am observing, or what I have observed, a year or two, they will come to Amirpet, do some training programs, then they will try something, okay, and then they will settle into some kind of a job. So rather than doing all these iterations, for these kids who are clear that they might not make it, My suggestion is for them to look inwards, look at what their interests and passions are, and it is better for them to chase those. And institutions as well as parents should actually support the child in these aspects. There's no point somebody doing engineering for the sake of doing engineering and then coming out and then doing nothing and waiting for something to happen for him. So this is my advice. So for children who want to pursue further in engineering, and for children who do not know what they want to do after engineering, but they're just looking for a job kind of a thing. And I'm positive that only 50% of these kind of guys gets placed.
Absolutely.
Okay, because quote unquote in all our interviews we normally see that what do you want to do in life? These are standard questions and they falter. Okay, so I think even companies like EdifyPath should chalk out a program, okay, which will help these children identify what they want to do, okay, and help them in in terms of training them in those areas.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Beautifully answered question, sir. Definitely, people with the will, with the skill. Today there are so many opportunities available for so many different career options available, and I think students who are left in the latter part of it should imbibe those skills and look at a career or an alternative career opportunity in that particular aspect. We'll move on to the next question, sir.
Sure, thank you.
There is a challenge to choose the right career. Definitely it is coming from the previous question itself. Now, a lot of people are confused while, for some people they are on the creative side on the whole. Some people are more, technical. What is your advice? And most students these days are very, very confused to what career option do they choose. They go to a certain career option and then, maybe somebody takes up a skill and then midway they think that it is not the right opportunity for them. Or they take up some particular passion and then they leave it midway. What do you think, you can advise to these students should be the right career opportunity, or how to choose their right career opportunity?
See, to be honest with you, there is nothing like a right or a wrong career opportunity. Okay. Primarily, something that interests you, okay, you normally get into it, and then you start working around it to build your career on it. Okay. Now, when a child or somebody is not clear about what they want to do, it is the basic fundamental responsibility of the parent and the institutions, okay, to help the child decide what they want to do by helping him look inwards. You need to identify what his interests are. You need to identify what his passions are, okay, and then build a path. And the critical support should come from the parent here. So it is not the child who needs to be counseled here, but it is the parent who needs to be counseled, because parent needs to help the child out. Absolutely. And institutions too, the placement offices. Normally the placement office is mostly like a post office. I'm sorry to say this. They go, they market the children, bring in companies, the children are exposed to them, they get placed and move. But the most critical job, I think, of a placement office is also to identify what every child wants to do and then chalk out a career path for them. If somebody doesn't want a job, that's fine. There's nothing wrong in it. If they want to explore a little bit more out there and then make a choice of what they want to do, there's nothing wrong in it. But what happens normally is the placement office, the institutions and the parents too let the children go. Okay, I think more time needs to be spent with these kids, because most of them are right brain guys. Okay, and the passions that they might be chasing would need little support, a little bit more time than anybody else, and to ensure and create a support structure where they don't drop out of it.
Absolutely. Because
all of us know perseverance is the name of the game.
Absolutely. In a large aspect, sir, I feel all the different stakeholders. It could be, all three. It's a collaborative, support that has to happen, even from the student.
I'll tell you something.
Yes, sir.
There's an old jungle saying.
Yeah.
It takes a village to raise a child.
Yes.
Simple. So there's nothing like. See, I think we are all so much used to corporatization, jargons. Okay, let's keep life very simple for the children.
Absolutely.
Okay, and the same yardstick, what I said just now, it takes a village to raise a child, applies to even the child when he's in undergrad. In today's world, unfortunately, because you've trained him so. In a professional course or a career like engineering, you have lecturers and professors only. You don't have teachers. You have faculty. Means a child actually has to learn by himself. Lecturer gives a lecture. Okay? A faculty only facilitates learning. A professor comes and prophesizes and goes. So who should study? But unfortunately, our education system too, in the last 20-25 years, has become teacher driven, not learner driven. Okay, the changes are coming now. We're seeing the changes.
Absolutely.
So what has become is hand-holding has become very imperative even in higher education. So unfortunate.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I think all the stakeholders have equal responsibility here. I will not say just the institutions. It is even the parents and the children. Okay. Now with the pandemic hitting, now they're completely to the wall, not knowing what to do. There's nobody to handhold them.
Absolutely.
So I think the shift is going to happen with the pandemic. People have realized that we need to go back and empower our children to be learners by themselves by the time they come to higher education. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Such beautifully put thoughts in the development of a child. Lastly, sir, mid-change career is now a big challenge for both companies and employees. How should they upskill their skill sets to get the right set of opportunities and make their careers?
But why are you thinking that mid-career change is a challenge today? It's been a challenge always.
Absolutely, sir.
Okay, it definitely wasn't there in the 50s, 60s and 70s, but from 80s onwards, because predominantly if you see, pre-80s, most of them were working in the government arena.
Absolutely.
So once you got into a job, you retire at 58 or 60 kind of a thing. So even our generations which graduated in 80s, okay, have gone through this upskilling or mid-career changes. Okay, mid-career, a lot of people have left their IT jobs in the US too and went for an MBA, then got into management and consulting. Some of us folks like me, after 10-15 years being in the industry, chose a different path. Okay, dropped everything lock, stock, barrel and came into education sector. Okay, so I think the mid-career challenges have always been there for at least last 3-4 decades, and there is nothing new, honestly.
Right.
Okay, the mantra is keeping updated. Okay, being there when the market demands and the industry calls for. So keep your skills up there in balance with the industry.
Absolutely.
If you are, or else you get obsolete in no time.
Absolutely.
So I think it is again boiled down to the same thing, that you need to be abreast with what's happening around you and skill yourself accordingly.
Sure. Thank you so much, Dr.D.Vijay, for coming with us and sharing your valuable insights and your knowledgeable inputs to these young students, young minds who will take your inputs to a large extent. Even, we are with our noble cause trying to educate and imbibe this knowledge into tier 2, tier 3 cities and take it to the grassroots level. And the golden words spoken by you, we will ensure that they reach the masses they are heard, and they are taking your advice on an everyday level. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
today,
you.
sir.
Thanks a lot, and thanks a lot to EdifyPath for giving me an opportunity to be here. Thank you.
So much.